So most men ideally would like to earn an income that would allow them to be the sole breadwinner in the home. Most men like the idea of being the provider. That ideal will not always become a reality, but it is the ideal. And as for attraction, men are not generally attracted to a woman's professional ambitions. And that's just not the quality that attracts a man to a woman.
Matt Walsh absolutely rips into Megyn Kelly for Megyn Kelly's ridiculous comments about what men look for in women. There's been an issue with this right-wing feminism, this subversive feminism, stealth feminism, I don't know what it's called, but it's basically where these right-wing women like Megyn Kelly, Tomi Lahren, all these people that yes, while they're conservative and right-wing, they support a woman's they support a woman wanting to stay home and raise their children. They're still butthurt that men in general don't want girl boss CEOs. And Megyn Kelly had a problem with Matt Walsh speaking out and saying what men and young men want in women. And Megyn Kelly seemed to be butthurt that Matt Walsh was spitting straight up facts, saying that men don't want girl bosses. Let's see what Matt Walsh has to say in response to Megyn Kelly. By the way, this is a commentary video, not a clip re-upload, so I will be putting my commentary throughout the video. Let's begin.
For the first time at one of the inaugural balls in January, I found her to be very kind in person, so I have no personal problem with her at all. But she does have a bit of a problem with me, it would seem. So before we get to Megyn's comments this week, I'm going to play something that she said about me last year. And I heard this clip at the time, but I decided not to say anything about it or to respond to it. I try not to get into public spats with people on our own side, which is why I quite frequently let it slide when people on our side, who I thought were friends or at least friendly, take shots at me, which it happens all the time. But I feel it necessary to bring this up now because it will provide some important context to Megyn's remarks last week. And also, I think the conflict between feminism and what we now call the traditional view of marriage and gender roles is coming to a head. It's coming to a head on the right. And now is the time to get it all out in the open. As conservatives, we have to decide if we want to conserve the view of the sexes that was held by basically everyone in the world for all of human history until the middle of the 20th century, or if we want to conserve feminism. We cannot conserve both. And I know which I prefer. So with that said, let's go back to February 3rd, 2024, when Megyn Kelly appeared on a podcast called Chicks on the Right. At the time that this podcast was recorded, Megyn was pretty angry at me for making some derogatory comments about feminism, as I tend to do. And here is the setup from the host. Listen.
I think it was right after you'd written a book, and so we had you on to talk about your book. And there was some...
These are right-wing women. This is a right-wing show? Chicks on the Right? Yeah, cringe. Cringe levels all the way to a 10.
Controversy happening at the time with Matt Walsh. And I know you had a beef with him recently on Twitter.
Back then
about
there was
a similar
controversy?
Topic. Yes.
Oh my God.
There was controversy because he's always been the same guy when it comes to women have their place and that needs to be at home and they shouldn't have careers and all that stuff. So, and it was about that. And we talked to you about that. And you said something that has never left my brain. And I loved how you said it. And I refer back to it all the time because I struggled with his arguments. He's very persuasive. He's an excellent writer, as I'm sure you know. And his criticisms were like getting to me. And I remember that I asked you about it in that show. And you said, I just know that having a career and family, having that career makes me the best version of myself for my family. And
holy cow. I mean, that sounds like a straight up like feminist. Like that sounds like it's from a straight up feminist. This is the best version of me. Like who says that other than these girl boss, strong, independent women?
It's like, that is the perfect way to describe how we think, I think how we feel about our own careers.
Absolutely.
It just really resonated with me. And so when I saw you guys kind of beefing about a month ago or 3 weeks ago or whatever, about the similar issue.
Okay, so we'll get to Megyn's, what she says in a second. Well, I will say guilty as charged. I have always been the same guy. For the most part, I'm saying the same things now that I said 13 years ago. when I was a mostly unknown blogger with like 5,000 Twitter followers. I might be a jerk, but at least I've always been the same kind of jerk. You have to give me that. But Megyn Kelly has had enough of it. She's had enough of my crap, and she wants me to shut up. And I'm not exaggerating. That's what she said verbatim. Listen.
And again, having said that, I like the guy. I'm getting a little tired of his nonstop judgment of women who make different choices than the ones he wants us to make. Sorry, Matt, you're not our Jesus. We don't answer to you. Like, live your life the way you want to live it and stop judging everybody who makes a different choice. I'm sick of it. I know you gals, and generally women, we're not judging moms who choose to stay at home and raise their kids. That's a choice we celebrate.
Absolutely
We
not.
love. Those are our sisters and our friends and our moms. Women aren't doing this to other women for the most part. It's guys like Matt. Like, shut up. I'm not out there saying your wife is boring and a loser because she decided not to get a job. I don't think that. I think it's awesome. She's the mother of 6 children. She must be incredibly busy. But why are you looking at every woman who works and trying to pass judgment and make her feel guilty about her choices all the time? It's a fail. We don't feel guilty because of you. But I'm just getting tired of his random posts about how the one woman who said, "Oh, I'm confessing that I really liked it when the guy I dated wanted to pay for the meal." And he's like, "No, you can't have that unless you play the traditionally feminine role." Who died and made you boss of all women? What are you saying? Like, I don't know why he feels the need to try to set fake guardrails around our behavior. It's a no, Matt. We don't need you.
Yeah. Although we have seen, though, there are a lot of these conservative pundits, younger ones, the younger women who are kind of taking that discourse and running with it and saying, hey, say no to the high-powered careers, ladies.
Wow.
Real quick, for someone that doesn't feel guilty or anything, she sure seems pretty upset. I mean, look how angry she was. Like, yeah, for Matt, yeah, you're right. Matt Walsh isn't the boss of all women. But if you know that, if you really feel that, if you really feel that what he says has no merit, why are you so upset? Why are you so upset?
Megyn. Okay. I confess that I don't take very kindly to being told to shut up, especially by someone who's supposed to be on the same side and who could reach out to me and voice her concerns privately if she wanted to. But it doesn't hurt my feelings. I could take the heat, which is why I let this go at the time. But this rant is now newly relevant given what she said last week. So keep in mind the language that Megyn just used. She said that I don't understand women. I'm trying to control women. I'm trying to tell women what to do. I'm trying to be, Jesus? I'm trying to be the Jesus of women or whatever. I'm judging women. I'm putting up guardrails. Now, I don't think that that's an accurate characterization at all, but I do think that these terms would pretty well describe Megyn's attitude towards young men. So here she is on her show last week. Listen.
But here's what's happening on the right. Young women, I talk to young conservative women all the time about their lives and their goals and, the things that they want. And what's happening is they can't find men who are maybe more conservative. Usually they're looking for somebody who is religious, like a lot of conservative women tend to be God-loving conservatives. And they can't find a lot of young men who want to marry a working woman now. And this is an actual problem that's coming up on the right. And to me, it's so sad because it's like, how did we get to the point where we're now telling young, conservative, amazing women that they're not attractive if they also work, if they choose to, let's say, do what I'm doing and what you're doing and get their voice out there. But I'll stick with me just because I think conservatives listening to this will like the thought of another Megyn Kelly voice up and coming. Well, why wouldn't we want that? Why would we take somebody who's talented in this field and really wants to make a difference and have the messaging to her be, you're really not that valuable unless you give it up and go into the home and only have a family and only raise a family. And not only are we sending her that message, but young men are actually believing that. They're actually believing it, especially on the right, because the trad mom has gotten so popular. And it's like, no, if we do that, we're not going to have any strong conservative or right-leaning women to provide a role model for younger conservative women who, and there's nothing to apologize for here, don't necessarily want to spend all their 20s and their 30s getting married and having kids.
So Megyn says that young men these days don't want to marry a career woman. And she says this is a real problem. She says that these young men are not attracted to working women, but obviously she thinks they should be. That these men are believing the, anti-feminist propaganda. They've been duped, says Megyn Kelly. It's very sad. She says it's sad. In other words, it seems that the one putting up guardrails and judging other people for what they want in life is Megyn Kelly. Megyn doesn't seem to understand these young men. She says that I don't understand women, she says, and I probably understand women more than she thinks I do, but I admit that I don't understand them perfectly. I'm not a woman after all. I've been married to a woman for almost 15 years. I'm raising 2 girls. I have a mom and 4 sisters. I'm not clueless on the subject, but I'm not an expert on the inner life of women, and I've never claimed to be. Tax season is officially here, and the IRS...
Ads. Listen, this is absolutely embarrassing by Megyn Kelly. This is the type of stuff that people like Andrew Wilson are speaking out about. That's why, when he's on Piers Morgan and he's going up against Tommy Loren, saying that we need to get this feminism out of the conservatives. It's like this stealth feminism, I believe he calls it. And that's exactly what's going on here with Megyn Kelly. It's this stealth feminism. We need to... And the thing that these conservative women don't understand is that we're not trying to force anyone to do anything. We're just saying that there are gender roles and we shouldn't encourage and tell people, no, actually, women, you need to be a CEO of a company if you want to have real value, because that's what's going on here. And bottom line is us men, we have gender roles that we have to fulfill. How desirable would a man be if he was like, yeah, well, I'm good at cleaning, I'm good at cooking dinner, I'm good at taking care of children. Like, how desirable would a man like that be to a woman? It wouldn't be that desirable. So now, why is it in return women think that we need to be attracted to girl bosses? But what do you guys think about this so far? Leave a comment down in the comment section below. Smash, click, tap, whatever you want to do with that like button. Just make sure it's been pressed. Let's continue.
Fusion is, I think, shared by all of the feminist voices in our culture, and those voices are a lot louder and have a lot more power than the voices of the young men that she is criticizing here. And this is the message that young men have heard their entire lives from every corner of the culture, and that's why it's worth responding to her in some detail. So I'd like to make a few points. First of all, Megyn is correct about her fundamental observation that men are generally not attracted to ambitious, career-driven women. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that men will not marry those kinds of women. And I'm not saying that wives should never have jobs. In many households, both parents work out of financial necessity. I understand that. There are also many different kinds of jobs that a woman might take on, which don't always require going to an office full-time. My own wife is right now working on organizing a fundraising gala for a Catholic homeschool hybrid academy. She enjoys it. She's good at it. It's a service that she's able to provide to support quality Catholic education, and she can do it at home. And I am caricatured by people like Megyn as believing that women should only ever do the dishes and laundry and nothing else, but that's not actually my view. I think a woman's first priority should be the children and the home, but that doesn't mean she can't do other things and pursue other vocations alongside that. And as I said, in many cases, a family might feel that they need 2 full-time incomes in order to survive. I understand all of that, but this conversation is about ideals and about attraction. What is the ideal that men strive for? What qualities do they find attractive in a woman? So, most men ideally would like to earn an income that would allow them to be the sole breadwinner in the home. Most men like the idea of being the provider. That ideal will not always become a reality, but it is the ideal. And as for attraction, men are not generally attracted to a woman's professional ambitions. And that's just not the quality that attracts a man to a woman. Now, that isn't to say that men are never attracted to women with careers. What I'm saying is that the fact that a woman has a career will rarely be the thing, or even one of the things, that men find attractive about her. Okay? When a man is talking to his friends about a woman he's dating, he's almost certainly not going to say any version of this. Dude, she's great. She takes her career really seriously. She's super ambitious. She has so much earning potential. Now, that's the kind of thing that a woman might say to her friends, maybe using different words, but that's the kind of idea that a woman might communicate to her friends about the man that she's dating. A man is not going to say that about a woman. As a man, I have never heard another man say anything approaching that about a woman that he's dating or married to. I've never heard that. Because men and women are different. They are looking for different things, Megyn. A man might be attracted to a woman with a career, but he's not going to be attracted to her because of her career. And a woman who puts her career before anything, a woman who prioritizes her professional ambitions above all else, will be very unappealing to the vast majority of men. And I know that might be upsetting for you to hear, Megyn, but it's just true, okay? Because men and women are different and they want different things. The difference between the romantic interests of a man and of a woman could perhaps be best summarized this way. Here's a kind of a thought experiment. If you give a man a choice between an attractive, sweet, kind, feminine grocery store cashier who makes $13 an hour and wants nothing more than to become a mother one day, or a high-powered, ambitious, loud, rich corporate girl boss whose greatest dream is to be a CEO one day, most men, I'm telling you, will choose the former without hesitation. They don't even need to go and consult their friends about it or think about it or pray about it. They're going to take the former. Okay, they're going to take the cashier. Now, if you give women the same choice, the mild-mannered, unambitious guy working a cash register or the highly paid corporate go-getter, you're going to have a lot more takers for the latter option. A lot more. Now, why is that? Am I saying that most women are greedy gold diggers looking for a rich man to bleed dry? Am I saying that most men are oppressive tyrants looking for some meek, helpless woman they can control? No. No on both counts. I'm saying that men and women are different and they want different things. Okay? A man is not looking for a business partner. He's not looking for someone to provide for him. He wants a wife. He wants a mother for his future children. He wants a helpmate. He wants a woman, not a man. This is not a new phenomenon. Megyn calls this desire of young men a problem that is coming up on the right. But it's not a problem and it's not coming up. Kim Iverson responded in agreement with Megyn and said that she, quote, doesn't get this trad wife trend. But what she's calling a trend, or what Megyn says is just coming up, is in fact the norm. It's the way human society has been organized since the dawn of civilization. A young man seeking a woman who will have his children and prioritize raising them and keeping a home is doing the same thing that billions of other young men have done since time immemorial. This traditional approach is not some new fad invented by TikTok influencers, nor is it a far-right conspiracy. It is the way of human civilization. These young men, they want what their grandfathers wanted, and what their grandfathers' grandfathers wanted, and what their grandfathers' grandfathers' grandfathers wanted, and on through the ages. The trend, the fad, the new thing, Megyn, is feminism. However you feel about career women who find their value and purpose in the working world, there's no question that they are the ones doing something new. Feminism sent women out of the home and into cubicles and boardrooms. Feminism convinced many women to desire professional success over and above family and children. And now feminists are angry that men were not reprogrammed along with them. Okay? Men don't want what feminism is selling. You may think they should want it. You may want them to want it, but they don't. They look out and they see that ever since the rise of feminism, divorce rates have skyrocketed, birth rates have plummeted, 60 million babies are dead, and most people are, by every metric, much more miserable. And they don't want that. You cannot make them want it. And getting angry at them for not wanting it is, first of all, fruitless, second, arrogant, third, unfair, and fourth, foolish. Because these young men that Megyn is referring to have an innate desire to be providers. Okay? That's why they are not especially interested in women who put their careers first. They want to provide. The desire to provide is a noble desire. Even if many of these men will end up splitting the financial load with their wives in some way, still the desire to provide is noble, and it should be encouraged, not shamed. It's not sad. There's nothing sad here, Megyn. These young men are experiencing a deep, ancient yearning, a yearning to leave home and find a wife and become one flesh, as the scripture says, and then to have children and carry on their bloodline, and then to go back out into the world on a mission to provide for their family, thereby fulfilling their destiny as men. This desire is primal and timeless. It is not a primal, timeless desire for a colleague or a business partner. It is a desire for a wife, a woman he can provide for and fight for and conquer the world for. And in return, he wants a woman who will have his children and raise and love them and prioritize them above anything and show him appreciation and respect and affection. That's what young men want. That's what any man wants. And they should be allowed to say that out loud. Okay, men are allowed to talk about what they want and what they need in relationships. But the problem is that every time a man talks about that, you've got women like Megyn Kelly who get upset about it. They get angry. They get like, how dare men have any needs, have anything that they want in any of this? Almost every young man wants this until our feminist matriarchal society beats it out of him or convinces him that he can never have it. He can never have the thing that his grandfather had, and that his grandfather's grandfathers had, and his grandfather's grandfathers had, and on and on and on. So if you want to know why so many young men are demoralized and depressed and broken, it's because for their whole lives, they've been told that what they want down at the deepest level of their soul, they should not want and they cannot have. Every man before them in history could have it, but not them. We're too enlightened for that now. The feminists took over, and they know better. They know better than our ancestors knew. They know better than the combined wisdom of all human history. That's the message that these young men hear. You want to talk about sad, Megyn? That's sad. That is a tragedy of catastrophic proportions. There's nothing wrong with what these young men want. There is something very wrong with the culture that tells them they shouldn't want it.
Absolutely 100% agree with. Fact check true on everything. Both men and women have roles in the family, and they are different, and they complement one another to create a family. But now you have feminism taking over society, telling men it's bad to want this, and women it's also bad because, listen, while you have conservative feminists that will go out there and say, well, it's okay if you want to be a trad wife. That's the only difference that there is between the conservative feminist and the libtard feminist, is that the libtard feminist demonizes women that want to stay home and take care of their children and says, no, you all need to be work. You all need to work or else you're oppressed. The conservative feminism's a little bit better in that they at least don't demonize women that want to stay home. In fact, they think it's a great thing. But it's all still under the feminism tent, where they demonize men for wanting a wife and a mother instead of a girl boss. And they get butthurt when they hear things like, you know what, young men don't want these girl bosses. You know, there is the TED series, not TED Talks, but the Bear, you know. You know, there is the TED series, not TED Talks, but the Bear, you know, the Seth MacFarlane show, TED. He made a show out of it, and there is one good episode in there that I actually really liked. So the mother is a tradition. This took place in the 90s. The mother is a stay-at-home mom. The father is the one that goes out and works all day. And there is one episode, and by the way, their feminist, liberal, annoying niece, the mom's annoying niece is living with them, and she's the stereotypical feminist, libtard, everything you could think of. And so they got in this episode. They get in in this episode, the libtard niece finds out that the mother actually got a degree to be a teacher. Like, she could actually be a teacher if she wanted to, but she didn't go after her dreams of being a teacher because she chose to instead, she got married and had kids. And so, of course, the libtard niece was like, hey, well, you should become a freaking teacher. go after your dreams, blah, blah, blah. And so the mother goes and she teaches for a day. And when she was out teaching for a day, she realized that, yes, while she liked teaching, she actually liked it a lot better when she was taking care of her family, because her day of teaching, she took care of a student. A student needed help, and the mother ended up helping this. So she realized that she actually preferred to stay home because she realized she actually felt needed at her. And the main reason was because she felt needed at her home. Her husband needs her. Her child needs her. Her family needed her. And that is why at the end, she chose to stay home. And it ends with the husband coming home. He's having a hard day. He's bitching and complaining about his foot or something like that. And so the mother then was like, well, let me rub your feet, or let me she took care of him because she was needed there. And the libtard niece didn't understand it. The episode ends with her perplexed, like, I don't understand. Why would she give up being a teacher just to take care of her husband and her children and stuff like that? She couldn't grasp it. And when the libtard niece even tried to talk to the mother and say, no, listen, you don't understand. You should really want to be a teacher. The mother actually talked back to her, and the mother's really like meek. She doesn't really talk back. The mother doesn't really talk back to anybody in the show, but she actually snapped at the niece. Is like, no, I'm happy here. Like, leave me alone. This is where I want to be. And the libtard niece just did not understand. And I felt like that was probably my favorite episode of the TED series, because I think that perfectly puts pretty much how important the mother is in the home, and how it's always these screeching, annoying libtard feminists are the ones that don't understand it, and they just want everyone, and they think in order to be worthy, and they think in order for women to be worthy or have self-worth, they need to find the same self-worth that a man finds self-worth. It's all about their feelings, and it's like, well, if men can do it, why shouldn't we? I gotta say, I was never a big Matt Walsh fan. Yeah, obviously he's done good things, and yes, he's had base takes, but overall, like, I kind of found him to be more annoying than I did like based. But I gotta say, he's been pretty on point lately, and I gotta give credit to Matt Walsh on this one. This was pretty spot on, and good on him for responding to Megyn Kelly, because Megyn Kelly was absolutely ridiculous and out of line. But what did you guys think about this? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Do whatever you want with that like button. Just make sure that it's liked, and subscribe to my channel if you really enjoyed this. You'll be helping me out a lot. And if you like more of Matt Walsh content, if you like more of content very similar to this, I got a whole channel full of stuff that I think you'll enjoy.